Italy is a country in southern Europe. It is a member of the European Union. Its official name is Repubblica Italiana. The Italian flag is green, white and red. It is a democratic republic. It is a founding member of the European Union in 2022. Italy's president is Sergio Mattarella. Its prime minister is Giorgia Meloni. Italy is also a member of the G7, as it has the 8th largest gross domestic product in the world. Italy has become famous for its wine and its food. Some foods are different between regions. Famous dishes include various types of pasta, pizza, and grapes. Olives are also often used. Before 1861, Italy was made up of smaller kingdoms and city-states. The country's capital, Rome, is one of the most famous cities in the world. It was the capital of the Roman Empire. Other famous cities in Italy include Venice, Naples, Turin, Genoa, Florence, Palermo, and Milan. Italy is a peninsula. It is surrounded by the sea on all of its sides except its north side. Northern Italy is separated from France, Switzerland, and Austria by the Alps, a chain of mountains. Mont Blanc, the highest mountain in Western Europe, is in this chain. The second important chain of mountains in Italy is the Italian Apennines, which are in central and southern Italy. The Po River is the longest river in Italy. It flows through 5 cities, Turin, Piacenza, Cremona, and Ferrara. The Tiber River runs through the city of Rome. Northern Italy has some of the biggest lakes in the country, such as Lake Garda, Lake Como, Lake Maggiore, and Lake Iseo. Because it is surrounded by the sea, Italy has a very long coast, which brings tourists from all over the world. Tourists also come to see Italy's historical places. The country has a number of islands, the biggest of which are Sicily and Sardinia, which can be reached by ship or aircraft. Italy has a border at sea with Libya to the south. People and culture. People from Italy are called Italians. Even if an Italian were to leave Italy, it is possible that their descendants could also claim Italian citizenship. This is because of Italian nationality law relying mostly on jus sanguinis, or right of blood in Latin. Almost all Italians are Christians. Most of these are Roman Catholics. Roman Catholicism is based in the Vatican City, which is home to its leader, the Pope. The population of Italy is about 60 million people. Almost 3 million of them live in Rome, and 1.5 million in Milan. As of December 2015, over 5 million foreigners were living in Italy, which is 8.3% of the total population. The official language of Italy is Italian. German, Slovenian, French, and a few others are also recognized. People also speak dialects of Italian such as Sicilian and Sardinian. There are many different dialects spoken in Italy. They vary between regions and sometimes between provinces. The people of Italy are mostly descendant from the ancient Romans. Italy is home to more World Heritage Sites than any other country in the world. These sites are culturally important and valued according to UNESCO. About 60% of the works of art of the world are in Italy. Italy is also a big wine producer. They made over 5 million tons of wine. Italy has a modern social welfare system. The labor market is very strong. Many foreigners, especially from Romania, work in Italy where the wages are much higher. The railway network in Italy totals 16,627 kilometers. It is the 17th longest in the world. High-speed trains include ETR class trains which travel at speeds of up to 300 km per hour. Kingdom of Italy. In 1860, Giuseppe Garibaldi took control of Sicily, creating the Kingdom of Italy in 1861. Victor Emmanuel II was made the king. In 1861, Latium and Veneto were still not part of Italy, because they were ruled by the Pope and Austrian Empire. Veneto was made part of Italy in 1866 after a war with Austria. Italian soldiers won Latium in 1870. That was when they took away the Pope's power. The Pope, who was angry, said that he was a prisoner to keep Catholic people from being active in politics. That was the year of Italian unification. Italy participated in World War I. It was an ally of Great Britain, France, and Russia against the Central Powers. Almost all of Italy's fighting was on the eastern border, near Austria. After the Caporetto defeat, Italy thought they would lose the war. But, in 1918, the Central Powers surrendered. Italy gained the Trentino South Tyrol, which once was owned by Austria. Rome, Italian Roma, historic city and capital of Roma Provincia, of Lazio Regione, and of the country of Italy. Rome is located in the central portion of the Italian peninsula, on the Tiber River about 15 miles inland from the Tyrrhenian Sea. Once the capital of an ancient republic, and empire whose armies and polity defined the Western world in antiquity, and left seemingly indelible imprints thereafter, the spiritual and physical seat of the Roman Catholic Church, and the site of major pinnacles of artistic and intellectual achievement, Rome is the eternal city, remaining today a political capital, a religious center, and a memorial to the creative imagination of the past. For well over a millennium, Rome controlled the destiny of all civilization known to Europe, but then it fell into dissolution and disrepair. Physically mutilated, economically paralyzed, politically senile, and militarily impotent, by the late Middle Ages, Rome nevertheless remained a world power, as an idea. The force of Rome, the lawgiver, teacher, and builder continued to radiate throughout Europe. Although the situation of the popes from the 6th to the 15th century was often precarious, Rome knew glory as the fountainhead of Christianity and eventually won back its power and wealth and re-established itself as a place of beauty, a source of learning, and a capital of the arts. Rome's contemporary history reflects the long-standing tension between the spiritual power of the papacy and the political power of the Italian state capital. Rome was the last city-state to become part of a unified Italy, and it did so only under duress, after the invasion of Italian troops in 1870. The Pope took refuge in the Vatican thereafter. Rome was made the capital of Italy, and the new state filled the city with ministries and barracks. Yet the Catholic Church continued to reject Italian authority until a compromise was reached with fascist dictator Benito Mussolini in 1929, when both Italy and Vatican City recognized the sovereignty of the other. Mussolini, meanwhile, created a cult of personality that challenged that of the Pope himself, and his fascist party tried to recreate the glories of Rome's imperial past through a massive public works program. Colosseum is a vast arena built by the Roman Empire, and it is also their most enormous surviving edifice. It was made to fulfill the demand for public entertainment through sports and spectacles. The whole oval-shaped structure of the Colosseum was 186 meters long and 156 meters wide. The Colosseum is one of the best places to visit in Italy with family. You can see it on your own, but going for a guided tour would be more convenient, keeping the tourist rush in mind. Also, do not forget to visit the Hypogeum and the upper tiers, and most of the tourists tend to neglect them. Walking through the underground tunnels and seeing the lion cages will give you goosebumps. Also, try to cover the nearby attractions like the Arch of Constantine, Roman Forum, and Palatine Hill. Venice, Italian Venezia, city, major seaport, and capital of both the Provincia of Venezia and the Regione of Veneto, northern Italy. An island city, it was once the center of a maritime republic. It was the greatest seaport in late medieval Europe and the continent's commercial and cultural link to Asia. Venice is unique environmentally, architecturally, and historically, and in its days as a republic the city was styled La Serenissima. It remains a major Italian port in the northern Adriatic Sea and is one of the world's oldest tourist and cultural centers. Since the fall of the Venetian Republic, the city has held an unrivaled place in the Western imagination, and has been endlessly described in prose and verse. The luminous spectacle of ornate marbled and frescoed palaces, bell towers, and domes reflected in the sparkling waters of the lagoon under a blue Adriatic sky has been painted, photographed, and filmed to such an extent that it is difficult to distinguish the real city from its romantic representations. The visitor arriving in Venice is still transported into another world, one whose atmosphere and beauty remain incomparable. Today Venice is recognized as part of the artistic and architectural patrimony of all humanity, a fitting role for a city whose thousand-year economic and political independence was sustained by its role in global trading. The situation of the city on islands has limited modern suburban spread beyond the historic center, its framework of canals and narrow streets has prevented the intrusion of automobiles, and its unmatched wealth of fine buildings and monuments dating from the period of commercial dominance has ensured a keen and almost universal desire for sensitive conservation. This concern for conservation is now extended not just to the city's monuments but to the very city itself, as rising water levels and subsidence of the land upon which Venice is built threaten the continued existence of the city in its present form. In 1987 Venice and its lagoon were collectively designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The city of Pisa has several tourist attractions, but nothing can beat the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It was started to be built in 1100 and the Leaning began when the construction reached its third story. Apart from the Leaning Tower, you must visit the National Museum of Pisa to see some excellent artworks, paintings and sculptures. A walk along the Amo River can freshen up your mind like nothing else. Borgo Street should be your next destination, if you crave some pizzas and other Italian delicacies after the walk. Nothing could be more appealing to someone who admires greenery than the stunning green landscapes of Tuscany. The countryside appeal and its artistic heritage make it unique among the other destinations in Italy. You can spend your days in Tuscany by visiting the historic churches, chapels, monuments and other archaeological masterpieces. In addition, you can enjoy peaceful walks along the scenic walkways or can cycle down the hills. Tuscany is famous for its wine, and if you visit Tuscany in the spring, you can also grow vineyards. During the spring, Tuscany offers several outdoor activities like thermal baths or hot springs. In addition, several food and wine festivals are often organized during this time in Tuscany. If you want to experience a memorable sunset on the Mediterranean Sea, you should visit the coastal region of Cinque Terre. It is also called the Five Lands because of the 5 fishing villages of this region. They are Monterosso al Mare, Vernazza, Corniglia, Monarola, and Rio Maggiore. These villages are connected via beautiful narrow roads and a railroad. It is one of the best places to visit Italy with friends due to its beauty and remoteness. You can explore Cinque Terre by hiking between the villages. However, to access the hiking trails, you will need a pass. You can access the walking paths by buying the Cinque Terre trekking card. You can also enjoy unlimited Cinque Terre train travel and access to the hiking paths by using the Cinque Terre train card. Milano is a city in northern Italy, capital of Lombardy, and the second most populous city proper in Italy after Rome. The city proper has a population of about 1.4 million, while its metropolitan city has 3.26 million inhabitants. Its continuously built-up urban area, whose outer suburbs extend well beyond the boundaries of the administrative metropolitan city and even stretch into the nearby country of Switzerland, is the fourth largest in Europe with 5.27 million inhabitants. According to national sources, the population within the wider Milan metropolitan area is estimated between 8.2 million and 12.5 million, making it by far the largest metropolitan area in Italy and one of the largest in Europe. Milan is considered a leading alpha global city, with strengths in the fields of art, chemicals, commerce, design, education, entertainment, fashion, finance, healthcare, media, services, research and tourism. Its business district hosts Italy's stock exchange, and the headquarters of national and international banks and companies. In terms of GDP, Milan is the wealthiest city in Italy, has the third largest economy among Europe's cities after Paris and Madrid, and is the wealthiest among Europe's non-capital cities. Milan is viewed along with Turin as the southernmost part of the Blue Banana urban development corridor, and one of the four motors for Europe. The city's role as a major political center dates back to the late antiquity, when it served as the capital of the Western Roman Empire, while from the 12th century until the 16th century, Milan was one of the largest European cities, and a major trade and commercial center, consequently becoming the capital of the Duchy of Milan, which was one of the greatest political, artistic and fashion forces in the Renaissance. Despite losing much of its political and cultural importance in the early modern period, the city regained its status as a major economic and political center, being considered today as the industrial and financial capital of Italy.